This book is a valuable primer on the power of commitment. I was inspired and motivated by every page. Jack Canfield, co-authored Chicken Soup for the Soul and the Success Principles. Now that was cool. My first book, it took me 10 years to write my first book. People say, are you joking? 10 years? I said, yeah, how's yours coming along? Just an innocent question. But here's what Jack shared with me in that 20 minutes that made me forget everything else that happened that day. He said, Michael, sometimes you've got to think bigger than you can prove. He said, I took Chicken Soup to 26 publishers and they laughed at me. They told me it would never happen. But somehow in my mind, I had already seen that book selling tens of millions of copies and I just couldn't quit. He said, Michael, sometimes you've got to think bigger than you can prove right now. Don't look at the evidence yet, because you're still becoming. Man, that word just kept coming up, but I was already on it. That was awesome when he said that, because it was like he read it right in my book. And I'll talk about that in a second, but guys, here's what I realized at that point. If you're not getting paid what you're worth, and at that time I didn't think I was, then there's only two possible reasons that I found as a good student. Here they are. Number one, the marketplace doesn't know what you're worth yet. Yet. Number two, you're not worth as much as you think. Yet. Still becoming. I'm still on the way. I'm still going. That's it. Two reasons. The real question is, how can you change the reasons? That's what you're doing here, right? That's awesome. Hats off to you guys. You could be anywhere and here you are. That's awesome. People say, well, Michael, how are you improving? You know, like in your speaking and stuff, how are you getting better? I said, well, I'll give you one example. I used to drink water on the platform. I love the mental clarity it provides. Unsolicited testimonial. Guys, it's not enough to be a professional. I'm telling you, there are professionals everywhere. They're getting paid pennies, nickels and dimes. That's not your goal. If you look it up, there's a second definition: performance by a person or persons receiving pay. That's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be a performer. I'm telling you, just because you're a professional, it does not mean anything. There's guys playing single A and double A ball, riding a bus and eating hot dogs, hoping they can hit a home run so they might get a steak. I knew those people. They were my friends. They were making pennies, but they were professional baseball players. That is not the show. That's the glamour is the show, but you got to go beyond getting paid. You got to be a performer. That's what I learned. Performance gets paid. In this marketplace, now I know I would love to talk about nothing but personal development, but many years ago people started talking about the economy. Oh yeah, but what about the economy? Listen, if you can't make it in America, where would you go? I mean, it's all I got right now. You heard Mr. Rome, put the blank list away and go to work on you. So the guy in the hat and the raincoat, that's my son. He worked at Disney for 2 years. Yep, it can now be told my son is goofy. I hate doing that to him, but it always goes over so well. So for 2 years, some member of our family was at Disney World every single month for 2 years. So that's Goofy, my son with Mickey and Minnie, and that's me and the boy there in the middle, and that's my whole Goofy family right there on the right side. So I was paying attention at Disney, and I was watching how they were doing change, learning, and leadership. Because that's the big three in the now economy. That's where we are right now, the now economy. But there are clues that have been left for decades that will play well for you in this now economy. What I've found is leadership is primarily about changing people's behavior, and that means if you're a leader, you gotta go first. Change your behavior, change the way you think. That promotes you. How many of you guys like getting promoted? It's where it's at. Right? It's about leadership. So how does Disney do leadership? Coaching and mentoring and performing. 2 things. Number 1, stimulate the process. Stimulate the process. Is that what this weekend has been about? Yes or no? Yes. Just awesome sitting here yesterday hearing about the process. I'm telling you, the process has been stimulated. I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of how I feel. I'm excited to see what's going on. My son's doing the business. I'm excited for him now. And I'm excited just to be around this organization and see what can happen. I don't even know. People say, what are you going to be doing? I don't know. But I know what I'm not going to be doing. I'm not going to be waiting around to see what I'm going to be doing. Right? We're going to take some steps. We're going to go in that direction. Number 2, you stimulate the people. Make them want to be there. Make them be excited. That's what Mr. Rome did for me. He stimulated me. I wanted to hear what he had to say, and I want to hear it over and over again. It's more than being recruited. It's the law of attraction. Guys, be attractive. When I got a call from John Melton, I never felt like I'm being recruited. It was never about that. It was the equity that John had in a relationship. That we had known each other for years. I respected his work ethic, but I respected his life ethic even more. Plus, Nadia will tell you he is an attractive and powerful man. So it's the law of attraction. You have to be attractive to other people. If you're chasing them, it's not going to work. Right? It's attracting. It's a law. Here's what I learned from Harv Eker in a book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Most people think they want to be rich. This really provoked me. It made me think. Harv said what they really mean is they want to live richly. They want to have a rich life. I said, man, that's me. I just want to have a rich life. Now, let's go back to Mr. Rome. I'm pretty sure money will be involved. But it can't stop with the money. In fact, here's what I found. The money is usually the last thing to show up. You got to prove that you're a serious student. You got to invest in you. That's the law of residual attraction. I've loved network marketing since 1986 when I first became a part of it, but for 20 years I didn't do it. I was around it, I spoke at events, and I did things like that. But guys, when I came back into network marketing a few years ago, and you heard Anthony talk about that, we built a large team, 4,000 people. We had a blast doing it. I was able to coach and mentor and invest in other people. That's what I love doing. But I didn't do that to make money. I could make money if I wanted to get on a plane. That's awesome. I'm thankful for it. I wanted to make residual money. Right? Anybody with me on that? Yeah. So that's the law of residual attraction. It's not The Secret and all that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about that kind of attraction. I'm talking about the law of residual attraction. So here's the question. What if anybody could build residual income just by choosing the right vehicle and applying a few basic disciplines? How many of you guys saw a few basic disciplines yesterday? These guys are amazing. Yeah. And then I got to do my part. Basic disciplines. What do you mean? Personal development. Investing in me. I got to get better. I got to get ready. What if the guy, the woman, the chief mentor and coach shows up and I'm not ready? Man, I can't take that chance. I got to go to work on me now. Because when you create leverage in the law of attraction, you will introduce other people to whatever opportunity you're excited about. Our goal has always been maximum exposures. As many people as we possibly can to see it. Pique them. Pique their interest or don't. Here's what a friend of mine says. The marketing expert. He and I have marketing discussions. We just get the swords out and go at it. Right? He's a marketing professional. He said, Michael, the law of thirds. Here's what the law of thirds says. A third of the people will be repelled from you. Whatever you offer, whatever you have to say, they hate it, they run away. A third of the people, they don't really care. It's not the right time, it's not the right place, it's not the right season, whatever. And they just kind of hang out. You think they're not paying attention. Can't really tell if any of those people are in here. I don't think so. But then the third is going to run at you. If you'll just do it, if you'll just put it out there, if you'll just peek, if you'll just expose the opportunity, a third of the people will run at you. Man, that's pretty good numbers. Ask the GPS leadership about a third of the people running at you. Man, I'd love to hear them talk about, we got together in the room the other night, mastermind room. Man, I'm just hanging out, right? Steam coming off the table. I mean, it was awesome. So it's a sorting business. You got to understand, not everybody's going to do this. You don't need everybody, you just need somebody. Yeah, I just need somebody. We got 4,000 somebodies in about 3 years. Just because we did maximum exposures. We just did however we could. Well, how'd you do it? Any way we could. Right? What works for you? Sorting. Now, it always happens, I know. So let's say somebody new comes into your team or your organization, just like this guy, who showed up in our family, and it wasn't, it wasn't like immediately you look at him and go, man, he's going to be a champion. I mean, he's amazing. No, because when he got here, I get in trouble actually for using that picture because he just woke up. Everybody says, he's so much cuter than that. I said, I know, but I remember that day. Oh. Right? So he just showed up. I mean, he couldn't really talk. We tried to get him to play some cards with us. He just ate the chips. He comes into my banjo room. He wants to play the banjo. He's not really even very good at the banjo. But